just the easiest way to do it. Like get some conversation going, and I just hit the button. Mahmood hates it.
No, it's good. Can we see a chat? Are you guys, or is this just like?
I can see a chat. I don't know if you can
Okay.
see a chat, but
That's fine.
I do have the chat pulled up. We'll see if anybody pops in. There's also a private chat, so I feel like you
Stream
should.
chat. I got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got it.
We'll see if anybody.
Sick. If you guys are watching, comment in the chat.
Say hello. You're by far the most podcast savvy guest I've had on here.
Cool. You gotta have more on.
Yeah, we gotta get some more guests on.
I feel like I suck at it, but
no,
that's fine.
It's not that bad. You're also were you the first podcast we did with Emily?
Yeah.
I think you were.
I think so.
Like you were definitely one of our first podcasts.
I was up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does she still coach for you guys, or is she like retired now?
No, she's retired. She just does mom life, dude.
Yeah.
She crushes it. So.
Hey, that's a good life. It's a hard job. That's the hardest job.
Could not imagine. Could not imagine. How's your little kiddo doing?
Great. I was just thinking about we went out to coffee this morning because it's my birthday.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I forgot, dude. So I forgot.
Dang.
Well, since I'm getting older, I only want to do them in 5. Like, I'll do my birthday, obviously, but I would like it in 5-year increments.
Okay.
So I'm 39, but I was going to wait till I'm 40 to like have a.
Sure.
And then 45 have one, and then 50 have one.
Yeah.
Because the stuff in between is like stepping stones. That's just how I view it. But yeah, so we went out to coffee, hung out. But then I was carrying Ruth back to the car because we had to park pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in this phase right now where she's just like, mom for everything.
Yeah.
And then when I was carrying her, I was like, oh man, this is how you're getting like free aerobic ruck training. Because she is heavy, and going the 3 blocks, I was like, oh man, I need to carry her more, but she doesn't necessarily want me to carry her. She just lets mom do it.
Just carrying around a 20, 30, 40.
Yeah, 30. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, at some point, you're just, it's a load.
Yeah, free training.
Bicep pump the whole time.
I know.
Right?
It was fun, but she was just like, Mom. I was like, no, I'm not giving you back. This is free training.
Yeah, I need this. This is the only time I'm working out today. So, damn, dude. Well, thanks for coming on your birthday. That's sick.
Yeah, I actually forgot we were doing this because everything with the games last week, and then it came up on my phone as a reminder. I was like, oh shit! All right, we gotta hurry. Thanks, Jacqueline. That's one of my athletes.
Awesome. Cool. So I've been on your podcast. I don't know.
I just throw you a link, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I need to start doing that with you. I feel like you guys talk about way more like of a range of stuff, and I'm still in the phase where I'm like, no, this is our subject. But you guys derailing.
Well, we do derail. One of our coaches, Noah, who's been on the podcast, he's starting to write basically notes for us, and we have been trying to come up with topics ahead of time. Mm-hmm. He'll write like questions or outlines. That's worked pretty well. When Harley and I get on it, it's actually really nice because we can just kind of free flow and yeah. So
that's kind of how I wanted to just. I just wanted to get you on here. I wanted to start getting some more coaches on here, and I felt like you were definitely one of the first few that I wanted to have on. But
I appreciate that. I feel honored.
You are honored in this very big podcast with 2 viewers, and I think we have 100 subscribers on our.
Listen,
YouTube.
Man, listen. You start small, okay? It's like anything.
Oh yeah. I have come to the conclusion, and you've known me long enough, that this will make perfect sense. I just like to talk to coaches, and I like to talk shop. So having coaches on and inviting coaches on is something I'm going to do, and I could give a fuck if anybody listens to it. I do not because it's for me. When we have our coaches on and we talk about like energy system development or whatever, or coaching this coaching, that's for everybody else. This is for me, so I don't get burned out on the other part.
Okay.
So I don't know your like origin story.
I think a lot of people don't actually.
Yeah.
Because I used to talk about it a lot, and then part of me feels like when you talk about the things you've done, especially to athletes, because that's typically where it comes up the most, or like clients, and like even other coaches, I think sometimes it's like, I feel like you're twisting their arm or like browbeating them of like, I've done this, I'm so great. And I don't know, somewhere along the way, I just stopped talking about it because I used to go on podcasts back in like 2017, 2018. I also felt like during that time I didn't have much to say about my quote unquote success. So I've like really stopped talking about it. And then when I posted the night before this last games, some throwback photos, because I was just sitting and looking at stuff and thinking about some of the people I've coached and some of the teams I've coached. And I was like, man, I've done like a lot of things. And it was cool. I was like really grateful for all of those opportunities. I think having a lot of gratitude. And then I posted all that stuff led to this thing where a lot of people have reached out and been like, oh, I didn't know you did this, that, and the other. So I think it sparked a lot of people's interest. So
perfect.
Happy to.
Yeah. So let's hear it. It's like, I want the whole thing. Like, how'd you get into CrossFit? All that stuff. Cause I love those stories.
Yeah. So actually I started, all right, we'll go way back. So in 6th grade.
Okay. We're going
way back. Cause
go.
My life of human movement started because of this, of like pretty traumatic event. So I got school, bullies, got bullied all the time. Just like not really the coolest kid. And
I can relate.
At the time I think there still is now the zero tolerance policy, you know, like if two people get in a fight, they both get expelled or whatever.
Yeah.
And I literally it's crazy because I tell a story and be like, that's not true. I literally got shoved into a garbage can. Like I got the shit beat out of me and shoved into a garbage can, like folding chair into a garbage can. Right. And I had like no skills whatsoever of like defending myself. I was shit at like, I did t-ball, I did hockey and soccer like as a kid, and I played like pee-wee hockey, but like you're just moving a puck around. There's no fighting. Like there's not really,
there's no physical contact. Really.
Yeah. And I only did that for like 3 years. And then I got shoved into a garbage can and it's like, okay, awesome. And literally like, so we go in, get expelled or whatever, or suspended. I forget how long it was, but the next day, well, shout out to my stepmom. She was doing martial arts prior to that happening. So she did Taekwondo. And then my mom was like, okay, we're going to put you in martial arts. So like she just Googled the closest place and it was United Academy of Martial Arts in Morgan Hill, California. Started there like the next day. So I was expelled from school. So I had like my on-ramp 2 weeks, like free or whatever. We finally got back into school because there's like one school in the area.
Right.
And they were like, oh, you never come back. You have to like homeschool, or like there's the school for like bad kids. So anyways, my mom made a strong
alternative school.
Yeah. The alternative school. So they were like threatening that. Anyways, I'm in martial arts. I'm starting that, start as a white belt. And I did that all the way up till I was 22 years old, give or take, somewhere around there. But I started and I just like fell in love with it. And it gave me a lot of confidence. The martial arts instructors, Mike and Nancy Clampett, own the martial arts studio. This was, I want to say 1998, 1997, somewhere around there. So they had during that time, like, I don't know how much people know about like pride fighting or UFC. The UFC was not a thing yet. So pride fighting is square ring, like boxing. It was the precursor
kind of works.
Either way, to the UFC. It's how the UFC got its idea. So pride fighting was a big thing. Obviously like Muay Thai, stand-up kickboxing was a big thing during that time. Jean-Claude Van Damme, like all the people, right?
Yeah, Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, and so like, and then the movie stars too, like Chuck Norris was like having those movies during like the early 90s. So martial arts was like a big thing during that time. And I was into it. The studio owner's daughter was a world champion, and they had a couple other world champions there. And somewhere around Greenbelt, they were like, hey, they have this thing that's called the SWAT team that you join and you help with classes and you help the head instructor coach. And it was really good. Looking back, I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, man, that's like free labor. Like they just had like free child labor.
Oh yeah.
It was, you got other things like leadership skills, coaching skills. You started learning about movement. It also helped your martial arts practice develop really well. And then I started doing basically forms, which is like the, artistic style that people normally see, or like things that they see in the movies with flips and the choreographed punches, all that stuff. And then I also did continuous fighting and point fighting. Point fighting, people are more familiar with because that's what you see in the Olympics. where
Right.
you're in a square ring and you kick and punch. And then, so a kick to the body is 1 point, kick to the head is 2 points, spin kicks to the body are 2 points, spin kicks to the head are 3 points. Any punch to the head or body is 1 point. And that's like point fighting. And you have a ref in the middle that breaks you and they award points. Then continuous fighting, which is almost where I got my CrossFit exposure, but didn't really know it, because it's 2-minute rounds, 1 minute rest. And you do that. If you're doing a undercard fighting or something that's not for world championship, it's 3 rounds. And then championship fighting or world championship fighting is like 5 rounds. And that's how they did it. So I did both those. I didn't really like point fighting as much. It helped my skills over time because I didn't like the breaking. I liked the kicking. And there's a rule in the continuous fighting that every 2 punches, you have to throw a kick.
Oh,
so like there's like a lot of rules that people don't really understand. And it doesn't really matter because you're the one fighting. So
fair.
So I did that. I got good at forms. I started doing gymnastics with this team called Loop Kicks. They're still around. It's owned by something else, but Chris DeVore was the guy who started it. He like coached me in it. And basically how I learned how to do backflips and spins and like gainer twists and all that stuff. And like, I can do quite a bit of it still now, but not as much. It's something, it's a skill. Like you have to practice. Like if I went to a gymnastics class, I could learn it back up again, like work on my flexibility and everything else. So I was doing that. That was going really well. I got a national championship in that, but then I started getting really good at fighting around blue, red belt. And there was a couple guys. So Jeff and Jared, who I would fight with and in our studio, and we would start training. And then if anybody has ever seen Ninja Turtles 2 with what's his name? He owns basically PAL Martial Arts and then West Coast Martial Arts. And he was the kid in Ninja Turtles 2. I've drawn a blank on his name right now. But anyways, they started, so we started training with them because they actually did Kaja Kempo. So then I got a black belt over time in Kaja Kempo, black belt in Taekwondo. And Kaja Kempo is just a different style of martial arts, and it teaches you more fists because Taekwondo is more hands. But around, blue belt, red belt, I started training these guys who were black belts, Jared and Jeff, and they both were like trying to get close to like worlds and a national championship because Mike's daughter, Molly, already had one. And like, it was just a big fighting school for a long time. And I just grew into that, got my black belt, eventually got a under 18 world championship in fighting, continuous fighting.
Dope.
I got really good at it and enjoyed it a lot. Then eventually like got more degrees in my black belt, was an instructor there from 2002 when I was in high school, started like as soon as I could get my work permit and started teaching martial arts. And I've helped basically tied on black belts for kids and adults all the way up until 2009, give or take.
Okay.
So that's where like all my real history of movement came from, and like coaching and teaching exposure came from. And I did that for a really long time and loved it. I actually am looking at, well, I don't want to tell anyone because I was going to keep it a secret, but there's an adult martial arts class on Thursdays at noon that I think I'm going to start going to.
Yeah, dude, that would be awesome.
And get back into it. A lot of it's just like flexibility, but the stamina and leg strength is still there, obviously, from CrossFit. But that's where that started. In high school, I played a little bit of lacrosse with my buddy, Michael Podesta, who also did martial arts actually at the same martial arts studio that I did. And his dad was a lacrosse coach for Santa Clara University. So we were like dabbling in some summer league stuff, playing a little bit. He played for high school. And then I joined the club team. I basically played like a year, but was on the team for like 3 years. Wasn't really good enough to play that much. I don't know. I played quite a bit, I felt like, but not as much as some of the other kids that were like really good, obviously. So that was kind of fun. So then after that, when I was in college, like halfway through, my buddy Justin, who owns Heatwave Visual, you can check it out. It's a cool sunglass company. Everybody, shout out. Cool. They just had their Labor Day sale last week, 25% off. You guys all missed it, but
shout out Heatwave Visual.
So he originally had a aggressive inline skating company because I still can, but aggressive inline skating, skateboarding, that kind of stuff. Extreme sports is how I learned how to snowboard. And I worked there for like 4 years. And I guess technically my role could have been like chief marketing officer, but it was at the time, it was a really small company. That was 8 people. That's where I learned all the photography, all the photo editing. I took class. They paid for me to take classes back in the day in Photoshop. So I went to the community college there. They had it. They paid for it, learned a bunch of stuff because it was easier for him just to pay for us to get education and learn those things and then bring them back into the office. So we did all that, filling orders, receiving orders, all that stuff, just building that all out, and did that for, I think like 3-4 years. And then I eventually was like, I was sitting behind the desk and I was lifting weights with one of the guys that I work with, quite a few of them actually, but Sean Storm specifically, we were lifting weights. We knew how to lift weights from college and martial arts and stuff. And he played soccer, and we picked up this book by Chad Waterbury. It's called Huge in a Hurry. So shout out.
Let's go.
Yeah. If you want to
Huge
start
in a hurry.
Listen, it's got snatches and cleans in it. Okay. So you can't go wrong.
Sounds like a book every young man wants to get their hands on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if Chad Waterbury is even still alive, honestly, but I should look it up after. We'll look it up. But so Huge in a Hurry, started doing that, and it was like, I really like this like strength training thing, weightlifting thing, like bodybuilding. And like one of my things was like, I wanted to look like, if anybody remembers, Blade Trinity with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to look like
Ryan.
Yeah. So I wanted to look like Ryan Reynolds. So I was like, oh, okay, that's the easiest way to do that is lift weights. And I already knew that from my history of lacrosse and martial arts and other strength training. And I was like, okay, this seems appropriate. So I was doing that a lot after work, and eventually was like, okay, I don't like sitting behind the desk. I don't like doing this media stuff. And in hindsight, now I'm doing a lot of media stuff.
And then you open your own business.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was just like, at that moment in time, I was like, I need to change something, because I was just like really unhappy with like myself, the lifestyle. I just didn't like, and you get in a cycle, because we drank a lot. We played golf at night. And I was still trying to like work out and like do all these things. And it was a great job. And I loved it. And I still I look back in hindsight, and it's like, oh man, I should have really appreciated it more at the time.
Sure.
And because of the way I felt, I was just unhappy with it, but it was a phenomenal job. Everybody I worked with was amazing. I learned so many skills that I use now, and I'm forever grateful for those things. But I would just, at that time, I was like, I got to figure something out. So I just started reading NSCA books. And I was like, okay, this is like, the NSCA personal training cert, like CPT. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to get this and see what happens. And then I was like, well, I think the best way to make more money, because I was already making a lot of money at the online company. Then I was like, well, I need to switch this for that. Like I can't not have money.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let me just see in the area what the best way to do it is. So I got hired by the 24-hour fitness San Jose Super Sport, which is the largest global gym in the Bay Area of the Southern Bay Area.
Okay.
And I got interviewed, and I started as front desk folding towels. And I wanted to be a personal trainer. And so I would fold towels on the weekends to try to get my foot in the door. And then I just worked hard. No one was going to fold a towel better than me. It was just how it was. And I just worked my ass off. And then Janelle, the fitness manager at the time, gave me the opportunity. She's like, all right, we know you came in, wanted to be a personal trainer. This was literally through 3-ish months in, 2-3 months in.
Okay.
And knew what I wanted to do, but had no experience. And she was like, all right, let's they knew about the martial arts coaching, but and instructing, but that doesn't mean anything to them. They don't care, Right. And so I was also, because this was still when you would get pay raises by the number of certifications you had.
Yeah.
So in that 3 months, I was just hungry for learning and getting any cert that they had on their list. So I'm Schwinn spin instructor certified. I have my TRX cert. I got my NSCA, my ACT, my every NF, CF or whatever. I don't know, dude.
There's so many.
Yeah. I was just going after them all. And I literally like in that time, I think I had like 10 like certs, like, cause I would just get anything that was on the list. And like I said, like, that's why I said, like they have like the body, I have body pump, Les Mills body pump certified, like
Yeah.
things I don't use ever, but, it was just like, okay, this is how you can get paid. This is the path and trajectory, and like, get to work, dude. Cause like, you're going to leave this online company that's giving you health benefits, high pay in Silicon Valley. Like, like that is your future. And you know, if you're going to leave this thing, you need to have a plan. Like in my brain, this was it. Cause like my parents don't really help me out at all. So I had to like grind. So then, she gave me the opportunity. Janelle was like, hey, let's put you on. So then, you know, they throw the red trainer shirt on and I'm like, this is it, dude. This is it.
Yeah.
And they have a rule, like, so you have to be over 80 sessions a month, or like you get on like probation basically, and they'll like take you off training.
You're on the chopping block.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the goal that they have, cause it's the San Jose Super Sport, is 120 sessions. And I remember all this stuff really well, cause it was a big part of my life, like on the whole time. Cause it's like, get sessions, get people to like personal train. And I was just like so excited and hungry for it that I just started, they gave me a couple of people, and then I would just cold call, cause they have the list. I'd call and be like, hey, you know, and so I basically learned how to sell really quickly, cause there was no other way to make it. And if you weren't selling or you weren't training, you had to go back to basically folding towels. And I was like, the whole thing was like, I'm not folding towels. I'm going to be so valuable here that I'm not folding towels.
Yeah.
And like, we had a great personal training crew there. That's actually where I met my business partner for the first CrossFit gym. But so I was working out, started training a bunch. I got to a point where I was doing like 130 sessions a month, making a lot of money, and literally killing myself, because personal training is just like, I mean, you could have some people during the day, but it's just like a CrossFit gym when you train. You're there at 4 a.m., first client, next client's at 5, next client's at 6. If you're lucky, you got somebody at 7 because they're not trying to get to work or get someone to school. And then you may have somebody at 10 if you got somebody. Typically, it was like older or stay-at-home population people who've already dropped people off. And then afternoon, like you come back at 3. So there's pretty good like 2-3 hour gap in there where I would write training programs for the clients I had, and then work out. And then I would do it all the way till like 7 p.m., race home, eat food, go to bed. And I just was doing that over and over and over.
The grind.
Yeah. Cause I was like, I wanted to do it. I was like, this is how I'm going to make money. And at the time, Biggest Loser was like a big deal. So obviously there's like that carrot of like, you could be one of the best trainers in the world. And now that there's the Netflix documentary, we know how much of a sham that all was. But at the time, it was like the pinnacle of what you wanted to try and get to, just like quote unquote celebrity trainer, or get the opportunity to work with a high level athlete, or however that was. And then I was like, Jeff Fearing was in there, and he would always bother me to come. Well, twofold. I had a friend, her name was Jessie, and she was like, you should do CrossFit. Like, she knew me this whole time. This was actually before I was personal training. I was like, no, like I looked into it, and this was probably 2006. And I was doing the martial arts and stuff. And I was like, no, hard no, this looks dumb, because you can see it on YouTube. And then fast forward to when I was personal training, Jeff was like convincing me, like, you should just come at noon. Just come to noon.
Try it.
With it. And I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to, whatever. And like because I knew of CrossFit, I did Fran in the Globo gym, in the 24-hour fitness. And because I did gymnastics, I kind of knew how to kip already. Like, I didn't know exactly. And if I wound it back, it probably looked terrible, but it wasn't me doing strict pull-ups, you know, when people are like, and I did Fran, and it took me like 6:30 or something. And this was in 2010.
Respectable.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I'm still also very good at Fran. Well, not now. If I trained up, I get back to it. But my fastest ever Fran is 2:14. So like, it's kind of a wheelhouse thing for me. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. Either I've done it long enough, or like, I don't know. My pull-ups are good. Anytime there's like a chin over bar pull-up workout, like there was this one for fittest of the coast. And I just demolished it because I'm just like, I don't know.
Just flow through it.
Yeah, anthropometrics or my kip or whatever.
Yeah.
And I am very good at gymnastics. So like it's for a tall guy, like so it's cool. And so because of that, then they'd all bother me because Andreas, Jeff, and Janelle, the fitness manager, all did CrossFit. And I was just like, just leave me alone with this thing. So I did it. And then they're like, you have to now. Because at the time it was like regional, or not regionals, but sectionals. And like everyone, so 2010, Jeff went to sectionals and I was like, I don't care, dude. Like, whatever. That's cool for you. Like, because I was so into bodybuilding still, but I was like doing some CrossFit stuff here and there and not real like CrossFit, not in a CrossFit gym or anything. And so finally he was like, yeah, come. And I was like, okay, dude, I'm going to come just because I'm tired of you bothering me about this.
Yeah. Get you to shut up.
Yeah. So this was 2011. So it took almost a year for them to convince me to go into a CrossFit gym.
Okay.
Because all of them would leave and go do CrossFit.
And you just
I just be in
the squat rack doing bicep curls.
Basically, me and a couple of people were like into bodybuilding, like would do that because I was doing a lot of bodybuilding, and I was like coaching a lot of bodybuilders who want to get on stage, bikini competitors, because that's like who comes into 24-hour fitness mostly, right? Or you're doing people who are like trying to get fit and they don't know how to do the machines or anything. So, going into the gym, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is like exactly what I thought it was going to look like, everything else. And I'm like, all right, I meet the owner, Judd, and it was CrossFit Silicon Valley, and we're in there, and the workout was 21:59 shoulder overhead and burpees, bar facing burpees. And like the shoulder overhead were chill for me. It was 115, but because I was doing so much bodybuilding, and still to this day, like shoulder overhead endurance for me is very good, especially if I like practice it. Because of all the shoulder pressing. You know what I really used to do a lot of is like the hammer strength machine that's on the handle. Ton of that to like grow my traps and delts like so much.
We had that in my high school weight room.
Yep. Yeah. I love it. I actually want to get one because they're so cheap now to buy. I'm going to find one on Craigslist because it made me a beast. Like my traps will naturally get really big.
Sure.
So I like, it's fun. Yeah, it's just fun to get those big. And that's one of the machines that help do that.
All right, hold on. Before you jump into like the rest of your story.
Yeah.
Because I've never told you my origin story either. The parallels are shocking.
You got shoved in a garbage can?
I did not get shoved into a garbage can, but I was bullied because I used to have glasses and braces. So
nice.
Check that off. Played soccer. Didn't play any other sports. My mom wouldn't let me play football.
That's a big miss.
Did wrestling my senior year. Loved it. Fell in love with wrestling and MMA. Did MMA while I was in the Army.
Oh, nice.
And then obviously was like just doing the bodybuilding thing. Did a whole bunch of bodybuilding for like 2 years before I stumbled upon CrossFit.
Yeah.
So like the general trajectory is shockingly similar. Like you were going through your story, and
that's why we get along so well. I think
it must be. It was like I did that, and I did that, and I did that. Anyways, all right. So first CrossFit workout, you embarrassed everybody.
No, I didn't, because the burpees got me bad.
Destroyed you.
Bad. But the barbell was easy, right? So like it was chill. I think it started with the burpees actually.
Ooh.
So it was okay that it ended with the shoulder overhead because then I felt like I got a win.
Yeah.
But that was it. Then I was like, because of the people, right? The people that I went with, and I already knew them from 24-Hour Fitness as trainers. And like, this is where I wholeheartedly agree with like all the community aspect of everything, even though I can train by myself, like no issue. I have no problem training by myself. And that's just because I learned that over time. Martial arts is a single player game. Like, yes, you can have training partners. And if you have a training partner, though, you're probably kicking and punching them. So they're not really, it's like you against them, not necessarily like, you know,
we're making each other better through pain.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's really nothing that like a lot of it you can do on your own and train by yourself and get better. Right. And yeah, you do train in a group in a class environment, but you don't really need to. Same thing with like bodybuilding and even CrossFit. You don't need to train with people. You can train by yourself. And I really enjoy that. Like, I like the solitude of it. I like being introspective into myself. My wife jokes all the time because I'm actually the most extroverted introvert. Because I actually am an introvert that just like, I can put it on. Like it's time to put on the show, and like I will do it, and I enjoy doing it. But it's like really, I'd rather just like a psychopath. There, with the drive home from the games, we're 5 hours from Columbus. Literally, almost like 90% of it was silence.
Yeah.
And I'm just like thinking about things like training programs or
I think that's
business.
a post games thing for like all coaches.
Yeah, but I'll do that anyways. Like I'll drive home from the gym and just like in dead silence.
Pure silence.
People are like, "What's wrong with you?" Yeah, so that was what really drew me into it. It's like, okay, there's a bunch of people that enjoy this thing that's hard. And I mean, I like doing hard things. It's fun. Obviously I was fighting for a long time, and getting kicked and punched for sport, you have to be like a little weird in your brain to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And that's where I do think I'm a little off. Like why, like I sometimes don't connect with people because of that history. Like you do 8 years of fighting somebody else as a sport, inflicting maximum amount of pain on somebody to win something that's just a game. There's a lot that you learn through that process, like about all of it, like what other human value is, what, pain actually means, what is discomfort versus pain, what's injury versus like pain and irritation. Like you learn so much.
That's such a good point. Because ironically, I may have a similar disconnect with some athletes at times to that. And I've always chalked it up to because of wrestling, MMA, and then the military. Like, I understand it's uncomfortable or it's painful, but I feel like the barometer, my internal barometer for discomfort is just so much different than somebody else's.
Yeah.
So it's like I perceive it, but I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like that's the point.
Yeah.
Just part of it. Like it doesn't even register.
Yeah.
Really.
I think the processing happens faster for us.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I think we're all feeling the same thing. Cause like if we use just a single analogy, like you get punched in the chest or like in your rib cage, it's all going to hurt the same. Because I mean, if we get weird, now that I've outside of martial arts, I learned so much about like force production, like levers and fulcrums and everything else, and like how you create velocity and force. If someone hits you with 32 foot-pounds of pressure, we're all getting hit with 32 pounds of pressure from that person who's reverse punching you. So all of it, if you line up 10 people and you have that person hit you with 32 pounds of pressure, we all just felt the same 32 pounds of pressure. Our perception of that pain is going to be unique to us, but it was still the same amount of force, the same amount of pain that was ensued on us. How we perceive it, how we process it, how we like soak it in, and then what we do next is very different and unique to each one of us. So that's where I have a hard time though, because knowing that and then experiencing it in my life, I can't connect with people who can't process their situation, and understand that like, hey, this is the same thing that happened to 20 different people, but you're processing it this way. Right. And we need to like look at that just a little bit differently so you can move forward, or like, especially if it's hurting them in some capacity of like competitive CrossFit or martial arts or their life or anything else. It's like, and sometimes people are like, no, this is different for me because it's different for me. It's you're experiencing it differently, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much I think about often with processing information with people. And I think it's a learned thing over time with athletes, because you almost have to get a little bit of ability in CrossFit to be able to do it. But something I talk to people about all the time is like, you should have a heads up display in your brain at all times. Yeah. Just running like, okay, I'm here. What do I feel? That felt like crap. Might need to take a break. If I take a break, I'm taking a 5-second break. What's the next movement? Can I make up ground there? Nope. Next movement's heavy snatches. I'm fucked. I got to go right now. Yeah. Like you've got to develop that like processing speed and
be okay with it.
Yeah. Cause it's chaotic.
Yeah.
Like, and then at the same time, you have to learn in workouts to just like relax, like turn it off for a second, like when you're on the rower or when you're running, just like chill. But fighting or combat, you're exposed to so much chaos so quickly, that it definitely, especially if you have a knack for it, can ramp up that kind of brain processing time.
That was a big thing for me. But back to the community aspect of it though, real quick, and then because that one we can get into that. That's actually kind of neat too. but yeah, the community thing, it was like like-minded people who want to do something really hard. They're enjoying it. And I was like, it doesn't really matter what I'm like doing now. Like I felt physically, I looked aesthetically the best I've ever looked in my life when I was bodybuilding, obviously.
Checks out.
There was like low inflammation. So I was super lean because there wasn't high intensity inflammation, all this other stuff from training. I wasn't, but the problem was I wasn't strong. I wasn't like that athletic looking. I lost a lot of my power, speed, and like a lot of endurance because I was doing no endurance training from basically the time that I stopped martial arts, which is almost no endurance training in martial arts also. And like I say, I played lacrosse. Anybody who's watched lacrosse, it's like hockey. You're subbing in and out. You have unlimited subs. Yes, you're on a field, but like you're not running, you're walking, you're running, you're walking. It's not like other sports like basketball, soccer, where you have a lot of endurance qualities. And so like I just loved it. So then that first year, like 2011, 2012 was when I first opened. So like half of 2011, I was training at the CrossFit gym, still personal training at 24 Hour Fitness. 2012, I did the first open, 7 minutes of burpees. I think I got 93, which wasn't bad. I'd have to go back and look.
Not for your first open.
Yeah, my first open was pretty good. The team from Silicon Valley went to regionals, I believe, or we had somebody go to regionals at that time. I forget. But anyway, so like that year, it was like, they were like, oh, you're not bad at this. Like not great, not bad. And that's when everyone was bad. In hindsight, it's like anybody, anybody with a warm body could try to get to regionals if you wanted to train enough, because there just wasn't what there is now.
Turns out there was like 5 people around that time who were actually good, and everybody else was just
pretty much. Yeah. So I was doing that and I loved it. And I was watching some of the classes. Oh yeah. I got my level 1, like basically that month, like the February month. Cause I was just like, okay. And I was already in the process of like certs.
Right. So you're just like, all right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Level 1, $1,000. Like I was making a ton of money from personal training. I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'll go out. So I went to the ranch in Aromas. That's where I did my level 1, my level 2 the first times. It was great. OGs like Jason Kalipa, Miranda Oldroyd, Adrian Bosman, Pat Sherwood. Who else? Like it's the OG that was doing that one. Well, they all lived in the area, so it was really easy. Right. Neil Maddox was one. People may not know who
he was a monster back in the day.
Yeah. So yeah, those individuals. And then when they were training for the games, because they all would qualify for the games or regionals, they actually would come to the San Jose Super Sport and use the pool. So there was like a lot of exposure to CrossFit, high level athletes. And then eventually I was like, okay, there's got to be a way to make money with like personal training and, this group model. And oddly enough, in college, I had a business plan for a sports performance gym because I was business entrepreneurship. And like we did the business plan competition, which we got, I don't know, you can look it up probably. I think we got second. Doesn't really matter. The point was we were making a small group performance gym, basically like D1, like what D1 is now.
Yeah.
That franchise, like that was the idea. And Jeff found out that like I had that business plan because he found out from Steve Capa, who I went to San Jose State with, and he was a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. Like everyone was all intertwined.
Yeah.
And he just came up to me one day and was like, hey, I know like, you have a business degree, you want to do this. You had this business plan. I heard from some people, you like CrossFit. And I was like, yeah, this is great, dude. Cause like, I want to figure out a way to like give myself more free time and still help people. And so like coaching a class of 20 people, cause I would watch the CrossFit gym and I coached at the CrossFit gym sometimes at Silicon Valley CrossFit after I got my level 1. And I was like, this is a way to help more people in 1 hour. Cause at the time I was only helping one person in 1 hour plus their homework. And maybe I'd see them 2 to 3 sessions a week, maybe.
Right.
And then I would write homework for them. So I'd write training for them that they would come in and do on their own, which 24 Hour Fitness didn't really like that very much because they wanted to sell more sessions.
Right.
So I was already like doing like the Greg Glassman thing without knowing, where like he basically got thrown out of the global gym because he was over servicing people. And because Janelle did CrossFit, the fitness manager, she didn't really care that I was doing that because, the goal is like help people. And I was servicing. It was like me, Jeff, and Steve were servicing the most sessions. So she's not going to mess with
Right.
the trainers who are doing the most. So we got a lot of leeway over time because we were just like trying to crush it. And then for a little while I was assistant fitness manager there and everything else. And then like, it was just finally like, okay, Jeff quit and he started doing all his personal training over at Silicon Valley or CrossFit Silicon Valley. And that's when like he was starting to talk to me and he wanted to have his own place. And we found a spot that used to be it was a dog groomers. And it was just like, it was on Craigslist. It was crazy. It got sent over to me by Todd Hernandez, who's the owner of Project X. They're still around. They make clothes and stuff. He was a friend of mine. He sent it over to me. I was like, hey, check out this listing. Cause he knew that we were like looking at places and he was a member at Silicon Valley CrossFit. And so I just called the number and met the guy that owned the place.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, here's how much it is. We'll come up with a lease, whatever. And I asked Jeff and he was like, yeah. And then we, Diablo CrossFit had Diablo Fitness. They were making equipment. They don't do this anymore.
Oh, wow.
But we bought all of our equipment from Diablo Fitness and put horse stalls in, painted the walls, quit 24-hour fitness, quit the other CrossFit gym, which actually didn't go very well. They were pretty pissed off. But, you know, it was 2012, 2013. Like that just kind of happens. And that was the first CrossFit gym. And like, just kind of went from there. And we opened the doors 2013. I forget. It was around regionals time of 2013.
Like
they're also mad because Jeff went to regionals on that team, the Silicon Valley CrossFit team. So my business partner, also my Heather, who coaches for us, was also on that team for 2013 CrossFit regionals. And anyways, yeah, we opened it up, just trained a lot, brought our personal training in, started coaching classes, and everything just was kind of history from there. And then we went to regionals next year, opened the second gym, sold that one, moved to Rochester, and have another gym.
Here we are, have another gym.
Yeah, but that's the lineage really of how I got into CrossFit and like coaching CrossFit and gym ownership.
That's crazy. That's a freaking story for sure. It's also just so interesting how where you just like right place, right time kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I was also working really hard. Like when I tell you that, I think about how many hours I was like just determined to do something different because my degree wasn't meant for that. Like, you know, and it was really hard being like, I'm going to do this fitness thing and I have no real experience other than the martial arts and some strength and conditioning from lacrosse and being in college to really even like make that leap. You know?
Right. Okay. So how did you end up becoming like the Masters guru? Because I do consider you the Masters guru.
Thanks. That's the second time someone's told me that. This last weekend at the games, someone told me, and I wouldn't even say the Masters guru. I would just say the first to do it. But I would have to credit Brute a ton for that. And it was unintentional. Like, I don't know, maybe it was intentional, maybe it was unintentional. But so during the time that I owned the first gym, I met Michael Caju from Brute Strength Training and developed my career in that. And like what we did was we did Brute's blog. I basically coached everybody in our gym on the Brute blog, got a couple guys to regionals in the first gym. Then I started like tweaking it and figuring out this like one-on-one thing. And this is around 2014, 2015.
Okay.
And I had a really good relationship with Mike. And like, I would always shoot ideas with him back and forth and like loved Brute. It was like I loved the training. It made sense. You know, he introduced me to a lot of things of training, energy system training, the idea of like IWTs that are really popular now. Like, just so much stuff that I knew nothing about, and CrossFit really.
Yeah, and this is Brute like
OG
Mike, Adrian, Matt Bruce.
Yep.
Yeah. They had Pat Smooch on there.
This is like early Brute.
IWTs. I remember when I found IWTs, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what's interesting is it was brought by a coach that created them, that coached the Hacks Packs team. the UT hack.
Bobby Maximus.
Yeah, Bobby
And
Maximus.
he got him from Pat O'Shea.
Yeah, and then Mike and Adrian started using them, and they work. They're great. They're based in principles. They're founded in science, and that was like with Sean and just the whole crew on that in that group doing that, being subject matter experts, having Nick Sorrell with gymnastics early on, and
I love his Instagram.
Yeah, and then he got canceled because he fought with Greg Glassman because he's a doctor and he disagreed with what Greg said.
Right. Yeah.
And I see both sides. I think there's room for conversation that if we like reround the clock, I think a lot of people would have a different. He wouldn't have got canceled
for sure.
But anyways, so yeah, that was like the breeding ground of like, hey, this thing CrossFit, like Bergeron style, because that's what I think most people knew during that time. Bergeron or Invictus was really big. And then 2015, 2016, Misfit came around. Like they were around, but then that's when they started to get big. So these blogs, these blog style programs were around and it was all CrossFit. Now, I think people still need to do CrossFit. And I think there's a good, like going back to Revolution, people need to do a little more CrossFit than they do currently. I think they need to learn how to suffer a little bit more. And classic CrossFit will bring that to you. But there was so much good stuff of like, we don't need to go hard all the time. We don't need to do these things. We need to develop strength programs. And in the midst of that, I had an Olympic weightlifting coach because I was okay at weightlifting, but like my 1RM snatch was like 185, which in 2012, 2013 was not bad, you know, but I was like, there's no way these guys are snatching. When I say this, everyone's like, what? 245 was like the pinnacle.
The solid lift.
Yeah, in that time. And so I had a weightlifting coach. So then there's that exposure. And he worked for Cal Strength, Dave Spitz, and like everybody that you could think of under the sun. And at the time,
if you don't know Cal Strength, that's your homework after this podcast.
Yeah.
Just go way back in their YouTube to the good stuff.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that's when they had John North, Donnie Schenkel, like at Cal Strength, and just like, and like Jackie Perez, and they started Barbell Wad. Yeah. So like all this stuff. And I was in the mix of all that. So my coach, Charles Shipman, got me from like a 185 to a 240 snatch. We learned that I'm like much better at snatching than I am at clean and jerk, which I still am. And a lot of that's like my squat mobility, my thoracic position in the squat is better than in like the front rack position. So once he figured that out and I got the snatch up, we started working on a lot of front squat and everything else. But like all that stuff, just like learning. And it pushed me into these great relationships. And so like you're saying, like right place, right time. But like there was a lot of work that was being done like on my end with the coaching, communication, being coached, building things, and just like pushing really hard. And in 2017, Mike put up a listing. Brute did, that they're hiring coaches. And I reached out to Mike and he was like, yeah, here's like the link. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did have an in, which is nice. Like, cause sometimes it's like, know who you know.
Connections help.
Yeah. But he was not the one making the decision, which I subsequently found out like later on. So anyways, I sign in, show interest. Jess emails me back. She was with them at the time and did all their admin. Then she's like, okay, well, here's this thing that you have to do. And it was so much stuff, dude. I had to do athlete avatars, talk about training programs, had to do video for myself, like had to prove that I knew how to coach one-on-one, what my programs look like, my coaching philosophy. Like it was so detailed and in depth. It was probably the coolest thing that I've ever experienced, to be honest. Yeah. And then I made it through like the first wave with that. And at the time I took my like 3 athletes that I was coaching for, and that's who I used for it. Then I did the interviews similar like this on Zoom or whatever it was. And I got on a call and it's Adrian Conway and Nick Fowler and Matt Torres, because Matt Torres was coaching with Nick Fowler at the time. And they seemed to like me. So then I got moved up to the final, which was Michael Caju, who I already knew, and his business partner, Matt Bruce. And, since I already knew Mike, I felt like, okay, it's kind of a shoo-in because I know somebody, but you still got to do all the things. And that was like the final thing. And so I credit Mike to really, I think, pushing me forward. I do think my body of work was really good. Because Matt Bruce said it was. So that's all I have to go on is that
Sure.
Matt Bruce said it was, and I had the in with Mike. So then they brought me in, and the first time we all met, so they brought in Dom, L, myself, one other person, but the other person didn't make the cut, and that's why I don't remember. So they brought us out to the first camp in Utah that we attended, and basically it was like our final interview. And so we went out, and that was it. We just got on Brute, and from there, I think they kind of started identifying our strengths and weaknesses, because then the athletes I started getting were like a little bit older.
Gotcha.
And like I did over time get some athletes that obviously like individual level athletes and team level athletes, but I had a lot of people who were like above 35, and I was doing a really good job with them, and like it just got good reviews. Then we did a camp in Austin, Texas, that I met Jen Botcher, who was like, I already had Shanna Bunce and Matt Chia through Brute on my roster, and I was doing a really good job with them. And then Jen Botcher was at the camp, and Nick Fowler paired me with her, and I started one-on-one coaching her. And then eventually Jen made it to the games in 2022. Gotcha. And then Shanna made it to the games the first time in 2021. And Matt went back to the games after suffering a bicep tear injury, shoulder injury at the 2017 games in 2021. But those were like the people that I got from Brute, push them forward and everything else. So like, that's how it kind of started. I think I just did a good job, and I understood the demands and like the work that masters have to do. And even though it may not seem like it, I think to my athletes sometimes, I understand better than they realize, like life constraints, time constraints, whether they want to listen or not. Because I'm just like giving advice like, hey, maybe you should take class today, or like, hey, maybe you should do blah, blah, blah. Or like, or I just say like, I'm telling you to do this, and I'm also good about like, hey, this is your goal. This is the amount of time and work it takes to do that thing. And it's okay if you don't, because you have your job, your family, everything else. Just know that like, this is the work we got to get done. So how do we got to do that? Because there's no way really around it. When you get down the funnel like that, especially now with masters, because they're so good. But yeah, so like, I think I had a good ability for that. And then I don't know why I was interested in, and it's so hard to do for any coach, is rehab, like prehab stuff. And I think maybe because Sean,
it's the worst.
Yeah, it is. But Sean Pastouche is on like this far end of that stuff, and in a good way. And I'm like somewhere over here, but we would always butt heads. But he taught me so much, and he gave me, when I was on Brute, access to all their educational platform, everything. I had everything I needed. And because I was always hungry to learn, I like soaked all that stuff in. I've used it. I think it's great. I think the way that Sean looks at structure and function is, like a Kelly Starrett, where it's just so people don't even understand it because they're so high level, because they've done it for so much and so long and so well that like, it's like, well, they're looking at like joint structure and function and what movements innovate and like go into that joint structure and function appropriately to get an end outcome that you're looking for. And sometimes people don't understand that A to B model that they have. Yeah. And which is then kind of tough, because you're like, well, that couldn't possibly, or like this book has said this, or like I went to school for that. And it's like, well, Sean went to school for chiropractic, and then he's got a bunch of PTs on his staff, and he's insulated himself around learning. Kelly Starrett is a PT. And it's like, these guys have made huge impact on people. And sometimes it's like, well, I don't know why you would argue with this idea. One, they have education backing. Two, they have the experience, and then they have the results. So it's like, whether you agree or disagree, there's some path there. And like, there are a lot of things I disagreed with Sean with, but it gave me an opportunity to have conversation and learn and grow as well. And like, there's things where he's like, in the past, like I know we had one altercation where we were just like really mad at each other about someone's torn rotator cuff. And that's okay. It's okay. It's like learning, right? So like he's helping me understand how to balance training around injury, around pain, volume, tolerances. Like this was early on in my coaching career too. And so like that I think bled into coaching masters really, really well. And, you know, like you said, it's a pain doing recovery stuff. And I think a lot of it's more like the pain of that is because I don't have enough videos of me showing and demoing some of these movements. Thankfully, like Active Life has a huge library. Artist Philly has a huge library. You can pull from those things. Training Think Tank, because Kyle Habdo has a huge library. But you can use those things and build that training in for people. But their execution sometimes is not the greatest for it because everyone's a CrossFitter and they try to go really fast.
Right. Yeah. There's just so many more. You're playing with so many more variables of like, I need to do this slower. Does it hurt? Does it not hurt? Okay. Like, okay, if this is below a 6, I need you to do 5 more pounds if it stays below a 6. You know, like because you're trying to get some sort of overload to get it back to where it needs to be. Like it's just difficult. And they're frustrated and pissy because they're hurt. Like it's just
But because of that experience and learning and just continuing, like there's so many books you can learn about injury and stuff because masters get hurt so much, so often. I think that has given me leverage to work with older population where I'm pretty good. I feel like I'm pretty good. And my results, I think, would show that I'm pretty good at keeping people on track, out of pain, away from injury, and still achieving high performance. Like just based on my results. Like obviously I can always do better. There's room for growth forever. But just from the last like 6 years of working with mostly all masters, as far as like the high level people, I think that's the biggest thing that would why I'd be like quote unquote a guru, you know? The second thing though is like I have a very good, and you know this about me, mind for understanding needs analysis and where somebody is in the athletic sphere or like, you know, their GPS of where they are relative to where they want to go against their competitive field. Right. And that's something I learned from James Fitzgerald from OPT early on. It's in their educational courses for their CCP. And I think they actually even do call it a GPS, to be honest. I'm not sure though. But anyways, the point is like, I'm really good at knowing beyond just like, I got 15th in this competition. What's it going to take for me to get to first place? Because that's how most people look at it. And I think a lot of coaches are getting really good at understanding that. And that was something all the Brute coaches and still, you know, the Brute coaches that are there and the ones that have left from Brute and gone into other places are really, really good at. Reverse engineering. And I think that's my biggest strength is I understand what it takes to go from A to B through those metrics, almost to an annoying point to people, right? Because it's like, you know, sometimes you can't explain it. It's like, yeah, how am I going to get that one extra burpee a minute? It's like, well, I don't really know, but I know we got to go there and we're going to do that. And we're going to look at a lot of training and we're going to progress the next piece of training to get you to that piece. And I can be very realistic about who has it and who doesn't have it because I've done that for so long. Like when I first, and it's crazy to think about because I think about it. Yeah. And I've done it and for myself and like, I've done it in the gym with general population people. Cause you can do that too. When people are like, hey, I want to get a pull up. You're like, well, you're probably like 7 months from a pull up and here are the things you need to do to get there. And then once you do that with one person, you do it with like 20 other and then 50 other and then 100. And you're like, well, this is the way, this is the method. This will work if you just
have a system now.
Yeah. If you just stay on the process. And it's like, I could look at anybody who comes to us and do a really good assessment evaluation, like a good consult with somebody and say, hey, this is what I think you need to do. And, you know, these are all the things you need to work on. This is where you can fill the gaps and this will get you, you know, near that end outcome or at the end outcome that you're looking for. And over the time of doing that, I can confidently say I can do that. Assuming the person has the time, energy, resources, and willingness to do it. And I laugh and joke often where like, I'm like the misfit toys coach. Because there are people I've coached that should not have done what they've done. Have you taken steps back first before you run? Wait, what? Having to take steps back first before you run. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Total bar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you, like the Marissa said, like, it plays in the reverse engineering of things. Like,
Right.
yeah. You can't just like do a bunch of total bar and get better at total bar. Now, sometimes that's what you got to do, right? Like Bergeron used to say, and I used to laugh at it, but it makes sense to a degree. You can't work on a ring muscle up if you can't do a ring muscle up. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you could do
100%.
all the skills and all the drills and everything else and get better at the fundamentals of it. But until you can do one, you can't really improve the thing.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know. You like can't do it. Once you can do one, then you can start layering better drills, faster drills, all of those things, and make them better. And I used to think that was a silly thing for him to say, because like you could practice a bunch of drills and never do one and get better, but until you do one, you're never going to get better, right? It's like a chicken and egg kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson I really love: "Do the thing and you'll have the power." And like I think about that all the time. With people and skills and lifts, and so like you got to be able to do it.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the biggest thing is like taking some of those, like a prime example, and she's not a misfit. She's a fucking beast. But she is, though, in the idea of competitive fitness. So when I got Jen Botcher, Matt and Shanna, same thing, honestly. Like, Shanna was never an athlete. Matt was an athlete, got injured, brought him back. Like, there's a lot of like ups and downs there in any athlete's trajectory, but he's not a Jason Grubb type person that just like started to train and just like hockey stick excelled all the way up.
Right.
And I would say like someone like Jason Grubb is a unique human being that you could give him any training program and it'd be very easy to coach him, and you would be the best coach in the entire world. Like, what I mean? If you've done nothing, and not nothing, you're there, you're in the process, you're supporting, you create a relationship there, you do a lot. But as far as like your technical skills,
nothing special
of human adaptation, nothing special. His body is doing all the work, And so like Jen, before I got her, was competing in so many competitions, and she was always, and she'll tell you this, she was always that girl that was like 15th place. The group of girls like Anne Marie, Jen Dieter, like all her peers that are like at the top when you look at the female masters, she wasn't in that cool kids. I don't want to say it's a cool kids club because it's not a clique. They're all really nice, but like she was never in the club of like, hey, we're elite athletes and we all have something in common and we're the top 10 girls. Right. Like Jen just was never in that. And then TFX, she went and she won it. I want to say 23 or 20. No, not 23, 21 or okay. I'm not even sure. 22, maybe before COVID, doesn't matter. Or 2019, somewhere in there. She won it somewhere in there. Cause like the event we had was it was 2019 Granite Games. She did great. She was making huge gains. Finally met her husband, Brian, have a great relationship. They stayed with us at the Masters Games. Like, they're phenomenal humans. And she's quote unquote retired right now. She was talking about coming back. So we'll see. But everyone comes back.
Nobody stays retired in CrossFit.
Exactly. So she had a great showing at the Granite Games in her division. But just was like, I want to break through, Mm-hmm. And then we had 2020, I think that's when she won TFX before the COVID stuff happened. Then 2021, I believe she won. 2021, she was on the podium for Legends when it was in San Diego, which was a phenomenal event. That was probably the best Legends competition they ever had, sponsored by Viore, great venues. The negative thing was everybody got COVID. That was probably not the business. Basically everybody. It was not the business. But then, so then 2021, we were poised to like, make it. She missed the games by one spot. That was the year they had 20. And then they made the announcement that they're going down to 10. And 2022, they had 10 athletes and she made it and just like grinded her face off that year. And like, she tells some great stories. We have a podcast with her, but like that type of athlete is, I think, the athlete that I'm the best at coaching, who is tenacious, has a big dream, will do everything, sponsored by Delta COVID variant. That's there to do it. And it's also exhausting, but we look at it and I look back and it's like, there are a lot of things, intangibles, and then even like placing wise for competitions that you could look at and say, Jen doesn't have it. I think she would get overlooked by other coaches. Like if you just gave the athlete, profile,
Right.
they're going to look at it and be like, this person's like pretty good. Like if they came in on an intake and we're like, all right, who we're going to give this person to, you would probably give her to one of your newer coaches who's developing, because you don't think she's quite there, and the coach is going to develop and you don't really know. Right. Which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because the coach can grow, the athlete can grow, everything else. But
sure,
it's one of those things where like, man, those misfits, I've been really good at giving that needs analysis, reverse engineering, and getting them success, which I think got really known in the master's group because I did that. And I was lucky enough to have some pinnacle like pillars like Jen, who then became friends with, because she made it to the games, she was now friends with Jen Dieter and the cool kids. Right. And she was like, well, here's my coach, Todd, who got me here. And they all knew the story. And obviously she did all the hard work, right? I'm just supporting her, writing the program, giving her the best that I can give her as a coach, and bridging that gap to get the success. And the same thing with Shanna. Like Shanna was, I don't want to say a nobody, but she was also in that group where it's like, she just couldn't do it. And then we worked together and she did it. And then everybody knew who she was, and it helped. And I think I can do that for a lot of masters athletes in a really good way. It just takes a certain person for sure too, because both of those people I'm talking about have hard work ethic, all the things that you need to make a champion. So it's like, that's what I think those two things made me like the quote unquote master's guru, and how I got here. And it was either designed by, Nick Fowler, Matt Bruce, and the people who are in charge of distributing the athletes who come in at Brute. And they're like, hey, he's really good, let's just keep giving him those people. Right. And they didn't tell me that, or it was just chance and luck.
Just happened.
And then I learned that there are different needs for a master's athlete than what you see out there in the training programs and everything else. Yeah. And I adapted to that.
I was going to say, I think just from kind of your historical background, like knowing energy systems well, getting that education, all of those things, that I think almost not sets you up, but helps you a little bit more jumping in with masters, because you can't just kill them with volume. Yeah. You can't just kill them with contractions of toes to bar, shoulder over.
They only have so many.
Right. So you have to understand how to develop their energy systems other ways with traditional energy system training, sports science, all that stuff. And then you layer in the sports specificity.
Don't tell everybody the secrets though.
I mean, they got to figure out how to put it on paper still. That's the thing with like talking about principles and coaching stuff. Like I know a lot of coaches don't want to talk about like talk shop publicly and this, that, and the other. And maybe this is just my own ignorance, but I'm like, dude, you and I could sit here and talk about training principles all day. And it doesn't make it any easier when I close this laptop and I get out a piece of paper and I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's hard.
No, that's true.
The hard part.
Marissa always says you can give somebody the best recipe from like the top tier chef. She just wrote it. She says all the time, doesn't mean you can cook.
Facts.
And it is true. And so I like say stuff. I jokingly say that of like, I'll text you sometimes when because like you did it. You don't do very many videos, which you should do more of on Instagram.
I'm trying.
But the ring muscle up one, I was like, stop telling people. I love it when people mess up their ring muscle ups like that. Because then if you get your athletes to do it, I don't want to say the right way, because but the best way, then you have an advantage. And then if everybody starts doing it, it's like, well, now I got to find a new advantage that other people, because that's the other thing too, is because of the martial arts, my eye got so developed because this is something I think, unless you know a ton about martial arts, traditional martial arts belt systems, they're like karate, taekwondo, kaji kempo, wushu, kunda kwan. They have the yin and the yang in martial arts. That's like a big thing. Now, something like jujitsu, they don't, or judo, they don't have the yin and the yang. They only do fighting and grappling. Mm-hmm. So that's just how it is. Like Royce Gracie and the Gracie brothers, did not start that system for that idea. They started that system
Right.
because they were smaller athletes who wanted to do well against larger athletes. And then it kind of bled into, hey, this is a great way for self-defense. So
Right.
it's a more of a self-defense training method than it is a martial art. Now it's under the martial art guise because it pulls from basically judo, and jujitsu is pulled from judo. Good history of martial arts for people. Anyways, because the yin and the yang. So you have the yin part, which is more flow, the movements, the beauty, the aesthetics, which trained my eye early on, right? So you're looking at like if your thumb is not tucked or it's blade edged, it depends like what movement you're doing. And that's a big deal because you get deducted points, whether it's like this or like this. So if it's straight against the index finger or if it's tucked in like hook grip, you know, you will lose points based on where that thumb is. And the judges see that. So when you're training that way, or like if the rear foot is kicked out too much in a front stance versus being more forward, you get points deducted. How low your hips are relative to the front knee. If you're doing a certain block, if you're doing up block, you should be in a higher stance, more similar to like a jerk stance. And if you're doing down block, you should be a little bit lower, closer to like a lunge position with the back knee straight. So you're in a deeper front stance. So like those little things over time taught me like, so when I look at CrossFit, it's the same. So my brain has been trained early on and my eye has been trained to find the little details that even though they're super annoying, has given me an edge on things in coaching. And I think that's where like my biggest superpower in person is, because I'll watch a coach try to coach somebody do something like in our classes. And then I'll just like walk up and be like, hey, try this. And like, I think sometimes that coach hears it and it's like, that was like so simple. I was saying the same thing. It's like, you might've been, but you didn't see the one little chink. Like good example, Cody is, you've seen him in the live. He gets coached by Marissa. He coaches in the gym. He's developing. He's a great coach. We had somebody yesterday during our hero workout doing toes to bar. He couldn't really help her get the kip motion. It was getting there. And I came over in like less than 10 seconds, got her to do it. And that's like experience, but also I was like, oh, I see what's happening here and coming in and jump in. Right. And so because of that, like, I think also too, that's what sets you apart. It sets a lot of us higher coaches apart. That like, yeah, even if they had the recipe and they're pretty good at cooking, they're pretty poor at seeing, you know, other advantages that could be taken away. It's also a double-edged sword because I do think people think I'm super annoying about certain stuff like that. Like, no, this like matters. You should be doing it this way. And people get so upset. Like they're like, leave me alone. I'm like, no, I'm not going to leave you alone.
Yeah. I mean, the devil's in the details, right? Like it really is, especially for people who are trying to compete at a very high level or achieve their kind of highest expression of output and fitness. Like those little details matter. And there's,
well, I would say even for GPP though, because like you can make your class workout much easier if you just do this.
And there's almost an infinite number of things to dive into because you obviously have like points of performance, movement efficiency, and things like that. But then there's also just like little things you can do with like movement cadence and rhythm and like flow. And it's like that's a whole other can of worms, right?
Oh
I have no idea what this says. How do you think coaches make the jump from seeing that something looks wrong to being able to cue? My stupid logo's in the way. I think it's experience and exposure or watching the best move.
I think it's both. I think watching the best people move is going to help you do that faster.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be able to see what's wrong faster because you know what the best movers do. Then you're going to also like, if you see enough people move differently or like at different points in that A to B model, you'll then be able to, if you're aware, create context in your brain of like, you know, buckets of like, okay, this person's not opening their hip all the way in the arch position of the toes to bar. And then they're losing tension and you can see their legs sweep forward. So they're actually not pulling down on the bar to close their shoulder. So they're not active through the shoulder, quote unquote active. Like that's a throwaway term, but now I just gave it meaning. you're not pressing back on the bar when you're hitting the full arch position to allow you to have the stretch reflex and connection to pull you into a stronger hollow body position that will allow the lever and the angle arm, which are your legs, to touch the toes of the bar better, right? And I only can say that in that sequence because I've watched it 100,000 times,
Right.
you know? And then over time, when I first started, I'm like, something's wrong here. This does not look right. Like what is it? Also, I think people could do a better job, coaches, and just anybody who's involved in fitness, of understanding biomechanics. That's a huge one. Like if you just take a biomechanics class, like online, I'm sure you can find some, or you take a certification that has general biomechanics and understand how the joints work, like stretch reflex, elasticity, all that stuff. And then you also take a general geometry and like physics class. So you learn angles, fulcrums, and levers, because that is all we're doing basically all the time. Is like angles, levers, fulcrums. Like,
I feel like I posted something like that a couple months ago. It was like physics and rhythm. That's all I do. At the end of the day, that's it. Like physics and rhythm.
And like if you could apply it, who was the guy back in the day? What is it? Whiteboard? He used to draw the
Whiteboard Daily.
People.
Yeah.
Whiteboard Daily draws the people.
Yeah.
That's exactly like what I'm talking about. You could like study those things, learn it. He's got the little person and the lines, and like you could start to figure out like, okay, this is the fulcrum. This is where the power comes from. All right, the power's coming from the shoulder. What drives shoulder extension?
Right.
You know, it's like easy to think about.
I think the thing for coaches with that is like you learning that helps you, and then bridging the gap between cueing people with that, right? Like, because that's, a lot of coaches will, when they're early on, give people just too much information. I definitely did that. And I still like to explain things, but it's easier with a one-on-one athlete versus a class member, right? When I have limited time.
Well, the other thing, like I even think about this, we're like talking, if we just keep using toe to bar as an example, because it's like easy and we've already talked about it. Something that people don't realize, like in their own training too. And then things like feeling your body and what's happening, right? So like toes to bar, most people are like, hey, my lats give out. Right. Because the lats are the prime mover for the shoulder flexion there, or shoulder extension, excuse me. But also what people don't think about is like their triceps. Triceps are active in that, and you feel it in the ski erg because you're making the same shoulder closing as you are, or shoulder extension as you are in a toe to bar. So like if you're a good enough coach and you realize that people don't have a lot of endurance there, you can do drop sets of like toes to bar and ski erg and build that, and then have a rest and build the endurance of like their triceps and their lats. If you do enough ski erging, you feel your triceps go and give out on you in like pretty hard, fast, or long ski erging.
Right.
That will improve some of your hanging gymnastics.
Right.
So like those are the types of connections that I make in the daily, because I'm thinking about structure, function, prime movers, secondary movers, and then obviously like metabolic stuff after that. Because when we're just talking about gymnastics, there's not really a whole lot of metabolic training that needs to happen for that specific thing, because you have it done in so many other things. Like your body is just, if you go running or you swim or whatever, like your gymnastics will get better just by the nature,
muscle endurance.
Right. And so you just try to isolate it. Whereas like, I think people will do like toes to bar to sit-ups. Now, if someone complains of, their hip flexors or their low abs going out and fatiguing first, then like, that's a great way to have someone do toe to bar into sit-ups and build basically resilience to that movement, which will increase their toe to bar capacity.
Right.
So like that, like what Marissa's saying is like, that is like what we're doing all the time for people that, I don't know how you actually, I was talking to Harley about this actually at the Masters games. A to B, I don't know how to make an A to B model to teach a coach that, because those two examples are so independent and almost reactive. Because in a class or one-on-one, you could have someone say, hey, my hip flexors really die out. And you could have somebody else say, hey, my triceps feel weird. Some people say my lats. A lot of people say it's their breathing. Some people's hamstrings might get too tight. So now you have like 6 different things you have to give accessory work to or give these training programs to fix the problem. And the outcome is they want to do 24 toe to bar instead of 12 toes to bar, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting thing there.
Yeah. I mean, that's why one-on-one coaching exists, really. At the end of the day, right. And it also bleeds into stuff that like I've always been a really big fan of. And ironically enough, I have a toe to bar video coming out that you'll probably hate.
Straight legs. As long as you're doing straight legs, I'm fine.
Definitely not. Have you seen how tight my hamstrings are, brother?
Jefferson curls, my friend.
But it's like solving different tools to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Like I talk to my athletes, my higher level athletes, about this all the time. And it's like the easiest example I give is bar muscle ups. It's like, okay, I'm going to have you do a bar muscle up workout, and I'm going to have you do bar facing burpees, bar muscle ups, and handstand walk.
Yeah.
If you can lever the whole bar muscle up, do it.
Right.
Because it's going to preserve your bar muscle up ability. Versus if I give you deadlifts, ski erg, and bar muscle ups, Amazon, we might just want to get our chest over the bar and kip it, right?
Right.
And it's like diving into that stuff's always been really something I enjoy a lot. But it all stems. It's just a different layer of the same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Do you watch the Coach Mutt podcast?
No.
Okay. First of all, you should watch it. You'll really like it. They have a lot of people on there. CrossFitters, strength and conditioning coaches. But they have a segment at the end of their show called Rant and Rave. And I'm going to have that, and I'm going to rename it, so I'm not ripping it off from them. But
no, that's okay. Just rip it off from them.
We're ripping it off from.
There's no original thought anymore.
There's not. I just need to rename it so they don't get mad. But shout out Tim Riley and Coach Mutt podcast. Everybody should go watch that. So
you gave him credit. I think that's acceptable.
Yeah,
I'm totally fine with people ripping stuff off as long as you give credit where credit's due. And then you got to remember to like always circle back and give credit every now and again, because like people forget. So that's good.
So in the Marissa, it's Coach M Up. Coach MEM, Coach M Up. They're out of Austin. It's a really, really good podcast. They're very smart. And they have great guests on. Anywho, in the coaching space of CrossFit, one-on-one programming, class, wherever you want to go with it. Rant, so something you just love that you think is a trend or you're seeing more. And then, or I guess rant would be what you hate. Sorry. And then rave is what you're liking.
Okay. All right. You want to pick one?
Let's go rant first. We'll go bad, and then we'll end on
something that I see right now that I hate. Well, I've hated it for a really long time. Is this? I know why, because everyone wants to be part of their own club, but the hybrid shit. Like the term of it. We're all hybrid athletes. Like if you one day run, and then the next day you lift weights of any type, you are a hybrid athlete.
So hybrid, bro.
Yeah. So like and I get why. It's like, it's why right now, and I get emails for this, start a running club, to increase revenue in your gym. Like it's literally a sales tactic that we're getting from companies that help, sell and build your business.
Yeah.
Because people do want to be part of something beyond themselves. It's why churches work really well. It's why the Elk Lodge works really well. So I get why. Yeah, it's why CrossFit works really well. I mean, to a degree, because now people hate CrossFit, the word, or they're scared of it. But that might be good. You're scared of biker games. It's like, I would love to join the Hells Angels. You might not want to. Like, that's totally fine. But so I get why it's out there. It's because people want to rally behind and identify with something. But it's like, it bothers me so much because it's like you're just doing constantly varied functional fitness executed at relative intensity. Like, and you're doing the 10 general physical skills. Like you're doing CrossFit, and it's okay to just say, hey, we're doing CrossFit. I would like it if more people just said we're doing CrossFit. This is our style of CrossFit. It's not actually like the CrossFit.
Yes.
But we're doing CrossFit.
So that's a good point. And that's something I think one good thing from the whole hybrid movement thing might have been is it made people realize, I feel like on a broader term, like more people, if you just don't like snatching,
Yeah.
You can still
Yeah.
get all of the benefits of CrossFit
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
mixed modal training, and you just
I
don't
love
have to
snatching.
snatch, man.
Dude,
Right? Like
I'm built to snatch. Other
you
than
are.
like injuries, because you can get injured in anything, but
And
I love
it's
snatching.
it's just something like I think opens some people's eyes, and
Yeah.
like I think it's a strength of CrossFit, and I also think it's kind of like in the natural life cycle of a CrossFitter.
Yeah.
Like you love to snatch. I used to love snatching. I have a really crap ankle. When I catch heavy snatches in the bottom, I tend to
Yeah.
tweak the low back.
You don't need to.
I still power snatch.
Yeah.
I'll do lightweight snatches in a Metcon, right?
Well,
Like
you could set up, it'd be kind of fun actually. Give you a solve. You could set up the keg throw bar outside your gym
yeah,
and start doing keg throws.
yeet. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's
So
all it is that explosive triple extension. That's
same
all you're trying to do.
same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I despise the hybrid thing as well, by and large, but I do think it hopefully opened up some eyes to people that you can blend modalities and you can choose the exercise selection that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
would like to do.
Yeah. That is true. I do
And
like
it's
that.
okay.
Because I'm a huge fan of I watch Hunter McIntyre's YouTube a ton, and
Mhm.
his Haas program's pretty good. For people who don't like you said, that's a great example. You don't want to snatch, because they're still squatting, front squatting, back squatting, deadlifts, presses.
Yeah.
He does power cleans in that program. So it's really good. But yeah, like you said, it's like blending. It's like, it's great to go echo bike, burpees, and box jumps. There's nothing wrong with doing stuff like that. And it'll give you potent health and fitness.
Sounds awful.
Will it? Well, if you're just looking for general health and fitness, I think that's probably like the go-to triplet that people
sure.
can do, and
Yeah.
do 12-minute AMRAP of 12, 12, 12. At the end of that, you're going to feel great, and it will make you more powerful, a little bit stronger. It hits all the areas of the body that you need realistically. And that's hybrid training. It's also CrossFit. It's also whatever. But now, as far as it being progressive, I think that's, and CrossFit gyms aren't like that also. So that's another rant too.
Sure.
I think the people who are afraid of this idea of hybrid, like you're saying, because I didn't even think of that perspective. If CrossFit coaches embrace this idea of hybrid training in the way that you framed it, you could have a better outcome. Because I think there are a lot of coaches still to this day who think you need to snatch or think you need to do bar muscle ups. And you don't need to. It's good to have in your CrossFit program because you have CrossFit on the walls, or you're saying you're doing CrossFit.
Sure.
Good to do those things because that's what it is. And even your members, I think members could shift their mindset of, I can go to class today and it says bar muscle up, but instead I'm going to do jumping bar muscle ups, or I'm even going to do a lat pull down to tricep kickback and candlestick roll ups. And then I'm going to do my power cleans.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with taking the fundamentals of the movement, building a strength and conditioning program, having them come in. And there's some person doing a billion muscle ups while you're doing, let's say, the things I said, or just inverted rows or bent over rows. And then you both walk over to your echo bike and you ride your little echo bike and then go do something else. There's nothing wrong with that. And that is something that I think that's why I get mad about the hybrid idea. It's not allowing people to understand that we can make better training programs that suit people. And you're not just stuck, like you said, with snatches or these high skill gymnastics. You can take the fundamentals of CrossFit and make great training programs that make people healthy and fit without having to do all the other stuff. And as far as the hybrid thing, I know why they're doing it, and they're specifically gearing it towards endurance people, and more specifically high rocks now, or Spartan racing, which I don't even know if people do that anymore. But
I haven't heard about Spartan races in years.
Yeah. But it is it's look good, be strong, and be cardiovascularly fit.
Yeah.
Which is why I get irritated, because those are the health markers of what Greg started, of improving someone's health. So that's where health, the word health for me, and I think there's people, care professionals like Renata's on here, who will either agree or disagree. That is health care. Being able to have lean tissue, bone density, metabolic function, lift moderately heavy, run a long distance at a good pace that is cardiovascularly sound by a measure or a degree, and have control of your body and have an ability to be quick and agile and do a myriad of things, which is CrossFit, but that's hybrid too. And that is the definition of health. So it would be cool if everyone just said, hey, this is the health program. This is the health like pill that you need. It's not hybrid. It's not CrossFit. Yes, it came from these things, but it's health. That would be cool. That would be I would like that much more.
I think we can all also be just brutally honest, like, because you were in Cali, so you actually probably know what I'm about to say. Like, the original hybrid athlete is Alex Viada.
Yeah, yeah.
And nobody even knows who he is still, for the most part. Nick Bear, and I like Nick Bear. I love his company. I love his products.
He's kind of a hybrid.
Nick Bear got the hybrid thing really going on YouTube and social media. And all he literally did was basically like, I hate Olympic lifting. I hate gymnastics. I'm going to power lift and run.
And bodybuild, because that's where he's like originally from.
It's body. And like, it just, that's what blew it up. Right.
Yeah. He did a great job. But now he's doing like triathlon. So he looks like a toothpick. A jacked tooth. Well, he's jacked. I'd like to see him in person now. It'd be really interesting.
Getaway sticks.
But you know how like people are like in person. So Harley got that position as the general manager of Arsenal Fitness, and one of the guys involved is that guy Eric, who has like the recovery shoes, the oatmeal company.
Eric. Yeah.
He's 44 years old or whatever, and he's like he lost a ton of weight. He was in investment banking. So he's like involved in some capacity from what I've heard from Harley, or he's just a member there. I'm not really sure, honestly. I'm sure he's involved. Anyways, I asked Harley because they did a workout together because he looks jacked online.
Huge.
Yeah. He's small. Harley's like, oh, he's really small. It's because of all the, like Harley's like 2 times the size. And I would say Harley and I are like the same size. Basically, I'm just taller than he is, even though Harley's fucking swole too. But
Harley's jacked.
Yeah. But he's just really small because of all the endurance stuff. So it'd be interesting because in that regard, like you look at somebody online and you're like, dang, like I want to look like that. And then you meet them in person. They're like, I don't want to say frail. It's just the only
just not as big as they look.
Yeah, you're like, wow, you're like really small relative to what I thought you were. Like that's crazy. Especially if like it's a pinnacle of what you want to look like. But I would like to have seen Nick like before he started the High Rock stuff and some of the marathon running, and then see him now and see what physical adaptations, because he's the same human. That's what's interesting to me, is what this training program of bodybuilding and more strength specific stuff and less endurance had on him. And now that he's doing more endurance, what do those look like? I would love to see body comp measurements of the full body, trunk, torso, hips, legs, everything. I want to see all that DEXA scan stuff.
Lean mass? Where'd you gain lean mass?
Yeah. Like, because that to me is like what I want to know is like, what are the physical outcome adaptations of this versus that style of training? Even though he's mixing the two now, because I think ultimately that's what people want. That's why the hybrid training is so good. People want to look a certain way and feel a certain way. Yep. And so at the end of the day, even though I don't like the hybrid thing, it's going to get more people to move and everything else. I would just like for people, again, like give credit where credit's due, call it what it is, and understand that we're just trying to create a bigger body of health. That's all.
Right.
But yeah, I'm so intrigued by that.
It would be interesting. It would be interesting to see what's actually changed with the two just drastically different training. Training model. All right. What's a rave? Something you love?
I love that even the stuff we're talking about, it's almost rant/rave.
That's okay. It could be a happy rant.
It's there's so much, like we're on here and people are watching, right? There's so much information. And I think we're giving quality information, and there are people giving quality information as well. And there are people giving semi-quality, and there's people giving bad stuff. And like the age of information in the health space that we live in today, there's so much information, which is great because it creates a better client, a better customer of whatever business you're in. If you're in the health space, it can create problems. Like we have the health people, like Renata's in here and she's a nurse. That's why I keep bringing it up. But so like it creates problems because people will come into the office and they have their preconceived like presuppositions because they've looked at chatbot GPT or they've heard this thing on this person's, and same thing in the CrossFit gym, same thing as one-on-one coaches. Like my teen athlete who just competed at the CrossFit Games and finished 14th, shout out Luca. He came to me though, and like, it's great. And I don't even know if he's going to listen to this, but this wasn't the only thing he did, but he was like, yeah, I asked chatbot, like Chat GPT, what I should do to continue, like if I should continue competitive fitness. And chatbot did a needs analysis based on, and he gave it a good prompt. He was like, I've done it this long. I competed here. I did this. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And like, here are the alternatives of what I might do. And like this and that. And like, he's really into shift karting and would be like, how could I get to Formula 4 racing and like, move up in that? Cause he's a phenomenal athlete. I think he could do anything he like sets his mind to, but it's like, he asked his final thing to do and he's 15 years old. So like, this is just speaking to the younger world in general. His final thing to do was ask chatbot what he should do. And chatbot told him he should go all in on CrossFit because he's already spent this much time and like everything else. He's created a high level. It gives him all these opportunities. Like you can't turn back the clock and like do high school wrestling or whatever.
Right.
But it's like, it's crazy to me that is a tool, but it's still a tool that produces quality outcomes, can give people more information, make them more understanding of the thing that they're engaging in every day, help them build autonomy of their own training. Mm-hmm. Yes. Does it create problems for a knowledgeable coach? Sure. Because we're human beings. Because that's the other thing. All that thing that chatbot told him are things that I told him. So part of me is like, come on, man. Yeah. Like I told you all, like, it makes me feel like shit. Cause I'm like, I just told you this and you believe a machine over this human being in your life that cares about you. And I know that's not the case. It's just what I'm feeling as a human.
Right.
So I am fearful for that. That's why it's like a rant, but a rave. Cause I am fearful that like people will rely on these machines over trustworthy human interactions that are invested in other people and believe them over people who are invested. Even if that person's wrong, I think sometimes there's a bigger value in being invested in someone else's life and partnering in them in life rather than a machine,
Yeah, I mean, our job in 10 years will just be the human aspect of this.
Right. Yeah.
ChatGPT will be able to program better for individuals after analysis than any of us ever will be able to.
And their inputs and everything else. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And especially when you can also reference that against the needs of the sport. Like we will be out of a job in like 10 to 15 years, except
for that capacity,
human connection portion.
Yeah. Because the other thing is like the skills, right? So I say all that stuff as a rave. I think having all of the podcasts, everything else, I don't see that. I get frustrated because we're humans and that's how it is. And it is frustrating sometimes when someone comes in and tells me they want to eat carnivore because this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, well, you try it. But like realistically, like if we just, if we just look at the Krebs cycle, like deleting a macronutrient is just not the business, but it can be a tool for a time, but eventually, right? Yeah. If rubber is going to meet the road. So that kind of stuff sometimes gets really tough, Luca coming in, telling me what chatbot said, even though I already told him, that gets tough.
If it makes you feel any better, Jacob did the same thing to me like 6 months ago. He just sent me screenshots and it was like, I'm basically like, it was a decent prompt. It was like, I'm strong enough. I want elite CrossFitter, this, that, the other. How many times a week do I need to run? And like, can you build me a running program?
It's like
and
3 to 4. Here you go.
It was like 4 days a week, this, that, the other. And I was like, hey man, that's what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Like, I got it. You'd be all right.
Yeah. And sometimes I try to like, that's the thing is like, okay, if it gets them to buy into the process more, great. As long as it gets them to buy in the process more. And I'm trying to be better. Why I say it's a rave is because I'm trying to be better about like people coming and saying that stuff and not getting personally offended. It's hard though, because I'm a human being and I like get my feelings hurt, even though I seem so tough. And that's probably because my origin story, I used to get bullied and beat up, that like I've built up this shield to be really tough, even though like internally I'm like, dude, that scarred me so bad that you said that right now, but I'm going to just like not let you know that this bothers me.
It does. It's hard for them to, if they're doing that, to necessarily take into the aspect of like how much you care, your pride in your work.
Yeah.
Right. Like those kind of things. What did Marissa just
The risk
say?
assessment.
Risk assessment.
Yeah. That's what chatbot did for him.
I love it.
Yeah. But it's a great thing. The technology, the information, the cool thing, like too, on a level of affiliate ownership or like micro gyms, is that it will help you if you build yourself as a coach and understand these things that's coming out into the world and you stay on top of it because it's part of your job. And even in like, with Jacob, like, all these things and he came to you with something that you already knew, which is great, versus a coach who's not on top of it. And Jacob comes to you and you don't know any of this stuff. Now you're in trouble. Same thing as like a coach in a class or the affiliate owner or the owner of the micro gym. If you're aware of this stuff and you work on it and you use these tools yourself too, and you build these things, you can start building better training programs for these people as well and be a guiding light for them through the noise and the chaos. But they have information that they can share with you, or they have biases that they've aligned with that they can also share with you if they're willing. And you can say, hey, I understand you have a bias with this. I disagree with it, but you want it, like the carnivore thing, but you want to try it. So let's try it. Let's see what happens. Be your own experiment. And then when you decide you don't want to do it anymore, I have a solution for you.
Right. Because that is what you will decide.
Yeah.
Doing CrossFit.
But yeah, that's my rave is the Instagram information, the podcast, chatbot, like all that stuff. I call it chatbot because I like to. I know it's chat GPT.
I mean, it is a chat bot.
Yeah, that's why I call it that, because it's a robot. So I just
yeah, I mean, I use it. I've used it a couple different times to help just take some of like the legwork out of creating a structure, right? Because it can just do it so faster than I can write down with a pen and paper and things like that. So
I use it for restructuring things. So I write stuff and I put it in and I say, restructure this, like reformat it so it looks nice. Because like sometimes my stuff's like all over the place. Yeah. Even though the information's there, but it reformats it. So I'll use that a lot. Other than that, I don't like it because I've tried to give it some really good prompts for training, and it still gives you really basic stuff that is great if you got somebody new, and not so great if they're developed down the funnel.
Yeah, and it's gonna take it a really long time for something as complex as CrossFit. Like like getting a large language model enough information, especially because all of our information is all to everybody themselves, right? If we got the 70 best coaches in CrossFit, best remote programmers in CrossFit on the sports side, and we just all were like, okay, cool, we're gonna put all of our information into this LLM. It would be able to cook pretty quick. Yeah. But because that's not how it's like, we're not doing that. It's going to take it a really long time to be able to synthesize for something so complex. But yeah, like if somebody's just a normal person, they're like, I need a 5K in a bodybuilding program done. Yeah.
Like I've read Triphasic Training a bunch of times, one of my favorite books. And I was like, hey, I want to start the eccentric phase for these 3 movements. Here's how I want to do it. Here's how many days a week for the gym. This is for just the gym programming. And I was like, and then after those 4 weeks, I want to do the isometric phase and yielding isometrics. And I was like, give me some ideas on how to progress this. And it like just gave me a good format, which was great. I already had, and I basically gave it to it. And it just pulls from the online book from Cal Dietz. But what I liked about that is like I was able to send it over to Heather, one of our coaches, to be like, hey, this is the next 4 weeks. And it gives people a roadmap that's good for them. And I don't have to spend my time writing that roadmap or explaining it to them. It just cuts the workload down of what we need and speeds up communication and puts everybody on the same page. Yeah. But again, it's nothing like unique. Like you can read that in the book. Like all you got to do is pay the $65 for the book, read it. And now like, if you just practice enough times, the triphasic system, right? Right. But Chatbot is pulling it from the internet and can just create that program based on the prompt you give it. You just have to get good at writing prompts, honestly.
Yeah. It saves you the hassle of just being like, I'm the map guys. Don't worry. I got this.
Yeah. I'm going to do all this admin work that it's going to waste my time.
Cool. Well, thank you for hopping on. I appreciate you hopping on your birthday, brother. It's been awesome.
No. Hey, this is what I like to do. So it's a good way to spend my birthday.
We're definitely going to have you back on. I owe you several podcasts. As many times I've been on yours. So
we just do ours for fun. I think you've realized that now.
Yeah. It's this stuff's fun.
I would love more people. I think doing live is great because I like live better than because it used to be like pre-record. Everyone did pre-recorded. Yeah. And the live is catching ground. I like that more for myself because it puts me in a position where I have to think quickly. Mm-hmm. and know what I know, and then it can solidify what I know and what I don't know, and you can get feedback from that. So that's why we do it selfishly every Wednesday, because I'm working on myself to be
think faster.
And explain my thoughts and ideas better.
Yeah.
Selfish. I'm selfish out here.
Hey, I think that's great, honestly. I mean, live is the only way I can make our podcast happen. Like, we've been trying to have a consistent podcast for like 3 years, and just scheduling the time to record and then upload and I mean, this is like episode 41. Like, we're not doing great so far, but as soon as I was like, screw it, we're just going to do them live, it's so much easier. Like,
Oh yeah.
Schedule the time, turn it on, talk, turn it off. I don't have to think about it again.
Yep.
That's cool, brother.
All right.
With that, thanks for watching, everybody. Check them out at the Packfit, right?
Yep.
On Instagram. And then Coach.Todd Wise. Soon to be changed to the Masters Guru. That's your marketing.
I was kind of annoyed that you put guru on there. I was like, oh my God, so annoying.
No.
It made sense. It made sense. No, it made sense.
What's a better word for
I just feel like, well, maybe we just bring that word back and change the connotation around it.
Yeah, it does. It did have a bad connotation, but
yeah.
No, he's the guru in a good way.
Sick. All right.